welcome to another My Little Podcast. We are your hosts. I am Bree. I am here with my father, Gary.
Hello.
My mother, Shelly.
Hi.
And my brother, Bryson.
Hello.
But we are going to be talking about the weekly peak and maybe some upcoming trips that we're going to be taking. But before we get into that, a quick word from our sponsor. This week we are sponsored by MyLittleHomestead.com merch shop. Each design we offer was handcrafted by yours truly with the help of my computer, of course. A few designs were done by Dad and Shay too. They popped in to do a couple specials. They're all cute, cool, colorful, and fun. Please visit MyLittleHomestead.com and navigate to our shop page or click the link down in the description. Of course, we always do that tongue-in-cheek because that is our merchandise shop. So...
So we sponsor ourselves.
So we sponsor ourselves, right? So I'm going to get my questions up here to lead us into our subject today, which is the weekly peak that we just produced here on Friday. We had a lot of really fun stuff happen. A lot of sanding. We're still very dusty.
Yes. Yes.
Yep, we are.
That was a lot of dust.
That was so much dust.
You guys did a beautiful job. It was good.
Yeah. Actually, Bryson's the one that probably worked the hardest on all that, powering down with that beld sander.
I don't know what we would have done without him. He was amazing. I mean, not that you guys weren't too, but
yeah,
I mean,
not that we weren't. Like us two, we worked so hard on it. Yeah.
I know.
You know what?
Oh.
Here's the thing I kept thinking is at the very end I figured out that I could tilt that thing slightly and it would just grind away really easily. So I could just blitz through a bunch of stuff. But it was at the end that I figured that out. Like the last little section. And I was like,
Oh, man.
wish I knew this earlier.
We
I would
could
have
go
been
do
done
it
with that
again.
floor within hours.
We could go sand it down
yeah,
again.
Yeah,
do
do you
you
wanna do it
again
again?
just to see how that works?
You first. Call me when it's done and I'll come and stain.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know one of the questions that we asked just ourselves was we were wondering about the sand grit and how the grit came to be grit.
Yeah.
So John Connor said, with regards to your sandpaper question, according to the spruce.com, sandpaper grit is the number of scale. The number scale refers to the number of holes per square inch in the screens that are used when sieving and the abrasive grains during the sandpaper's manufacture. For example, in 60 grit sandpaper, the abrasive particles used in the paper were sieved through a screen that had 60 holes per square inch. Now we all know.
Oh, that's interesting.
So when they ran that sand across the sieve, it just pulled into the 60 holes, dropped onto the probably hot glue kind of a deal, right?
Yeah.
And then stuck there. So it isn't necessarily 60 grains per square inch. It is 60 holes per square inch. And then depending on how long they push that through the sieve. That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that.
That is interesting.
That's cool.
Wouldn't
Thank you
it be
so
fun
much.
to visit a place like that and see how it's
so cool.
really done? I would love
So
to do that.
how it's made, don't they have one of those?
Maybe it's possible. I do have a question though. Do you think they could do that with diamonds? Really make some sandpaper that
They do. That's
Oh,
the
yeah,
discs
they
that
have
I
the-
used on the countertop. were
I
all
wonder if
diamonds.
that's
that's not real diamonds.
That was
though.
real diamonds.
they're
I thought
probably,
no.
they're
Diamond dust.
probably
Diamond dust.
To my
Yeah.
understanding,
Probably fake ones though,
No,
right?
No.
those are real
They're
diamonds.
real ones?
Yeah.
to my
Oh.
understanding,
Jeez.
diamonds they're really easy to find, and there's a lot of them. They're just very expensive because it's regulated. So
Well,
I think that's
also
the way
too,
it works. So it's not
this is diamond dust. When you get
Yeah.
a real rock and
It's
you get
different.
that rock cut and shined and polished and graded, then that's where the value comes into. It doesn't come into the dust itself that's
true.
used. So
All right,
That's
that
true.
makes
So you
sense.
can get all. Oh, I see. So you get to monetize all parts of it. So you dust, and then you make it into sandpaper, and then you also get to sell the diamond or something. Is that how that works?
Smart, yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
There's
Very nice.
capitalism right there.
You gotta love it. Gotta love it.
I don't know how you would cut a diamond though. That's the question.
is it cut or chipped or split or? I don't think they actually cut it, so I don't know how
I
that
thought
works.
diamonds
Maybe
were
they
pretty
do.
They
hard,
use
I
the
don't-
term cut,
Yeah,
so maybe they
do
do.
cut it. Yeah.
With
So,
a grinder?
CNC machine.
There you go, Brian.
Maybe
Yeah.
with a little tiny file.
Somebody's there.
Oh, this file's gone. Next file. Oh, this file's gone. Next file.
I don't know, but wasn't it
That's why they're so
you know,
expensive.
Diamond files.
wasn't it the dwarfs on Snow White that were diamond?
They were.
Weren't they diamond miners?
They were.
Oh.
They went
So
diamond mining.
Why weren't they richer? They should have had a castle. If
I know.
were
Didn't they live in
diamond
squalor?
True.
Jeez.
That's true.
Yeah.
Maybe they were working for somebody else that really didn't give them a lot of pay.
There you go. Yeah, probably.
The Seven Dwarfs.
Disney does not pay their dwarves well.
It was their own diamond mine, so they should have lived in castle and
Yeah.
I
had
know.
servants and
Should have been a lot of money there.
That's just so inconsistent.
I tell you.
Unbelievable.
another Disney mistake. There we go.
Okay,
You know
so
what would be really fun though?
Oh.
To go down a river and do searching for rubies. And
is that a thing?
Gems and stuff. Yeah, you go on like little creeks and rivers with like boots and stuff, and you walk through the river with a light, and you try to find rubies and stuff in the water.
Whoa.
That would be
you
a
find
fun
like
one, too.
red
That would be fun.
stones. You find different colored stones
like,
that are
don't-
rubies.
Aren't some of those rubies
or
though
not
like
rubies,
covered
but-
with gunk? And
How
you
would
have to
you find
split
it
them
with
and
a-
polish them before you figure
I
out.
don't
it's a
know.
ruby?
It's a flowing river, so
Oh, maybe
Maybe
it does
that is
it does
polish.
the
My
cleaning
guess
for
is
you.
it
or
keeps
something.
Okay, we have
clean.
to add these to our
I don't know,
list
but
of
I
it's
know,
something that
so
I
many
want to
things we
do
wanna do.
is gem hunt because I think that would be kind of
So-
fun.
So where's the best ruby
No
river
idea.
around?
I
We'll have to do
remember
some looking
watching
into
just like one video on it. Literally one video of a guy going down a river looking for gems, and
That's
Did he
that's
find
all I
any?
remember. No, I don't even remember that. I just remember.
we don't
Well,
even
maybe
know if
that's
it's
not even a
successful.
thing.
No, I'm sure.
Maybe
it's
he's
a
like,
thing.
you know what would make a great clickbait video? Going down a river with a flashlight, pretending I'm looking for rubies.
I think it's
And then
part of a
fake
gold
findings
mine.
of at the end.
That's good.
Okay,
right.
so back to sanding. Robert Thomas Main said, sanding a floor with belt sander. Geez, for future projects, you can rent a floor sander at Home Depot or other tool rental places. Would have been done in 2 hours tops for that size room. But watch several videos on how to use one first. Otherwise, amateurs tend to get wavy floors. Surprised you didn't seem to get waves with the belt sander. You would still need to use the small sanders on the edge of the walls. Not sure what you top coated with, but there are water-based polyurethanes that basically go on with a squeegee, self-leveling. Unless it's a 3/4 click thick solid wood floor, unlikely you will be able to sand it again, as eventually the tongues will pop, which destroys the integrity of the joints. You only have less than the top 1/3 of any T&G floor for sanding finishing.
This was is even worse than a 3/4 inch floor. It was a lambed. It was wood lambed, but it was only like 1/8 inch, I think. So we were
I
lucky
accidentally
not
dug
to.
into the middle of one accidentally, and it went pretty deep and still was wood.
Yeah,
But I
So
think
it's
he's talking about
real-
the little seams.
well, that's true too. But yeah, the T&G on that. But it's not solid wood. So can we admit that now to everybody that
No,
Gary
never
didn't
admit
put
that
in
we
a
don't have
solid
solid
wood
wood
floor.
down on
It was
the
really
floor.
cool that we were able to sand it, but we were about a day into it, and half the floor was done, and I was like, hey, we should go to Home Depot and rent one of those big things. But by that time,
Yeah, it was too late.
and we were concerned too that we wouldn't know how to use it properly, and with that floor being so thin, we would just really gouge it. So,
Yeah, there was.
but that's a
worries
good
there.
idea, and I think next.
But that would have been easy. See, that's
Yeah.
the
Oh,
easy
yeah.
way.
We don't wanna
We don't
do
do
that.
it the
The
easy
easy
way.
no.
We do it the fun way.
Yeah, more work.
Back grinding as you grind.
yes. Think how
your
strong
back
my
gets
back is.
stuck, and then you get up and you're like, why is my back not straightening out? What's going on? You got to press on it.
Yeah,
Get it all
Grandpa.
straight again.
Yeah, Grandma and Grandpa came to visit, and I stood up, and I couldn't stand up all the way, and I kept going all the way up, all the way up, Gil, all the way up. I probably looked really angry as I was trying to focus on standing straight. I had to greet them.
You were like hunched over, like walking, trying to like get
I'm
your
like,
back like
all the way
straightened
up, go
out.
all
Like,
the way up.
Get it straight. Come on.
Yeah, and I think our plan for next time, Gary and I have already talked about it, is that we'll put Pergo in there. Gary just,
Pergo?
you've had a difficult time thinking about a non-wood
I'm
application.
still in shock that I might go that
what?
way.
You know what I would do? It sounds insane, but you know what I would do?
Huh.
I'd get paper bags and I would glue paper bags on it.
Oh, do a
Just
paper
right over
bag
the
floor?
top of it. Because it would glue right to that. The paper bags would just glue straight to that with the wood
Bryson,
glue.
that is not a bad idea.
And you just do either a colored floor, like like we've done in Garen's
And then
room.
once you got sick of it, you just
Or-
pull up the wood floor.
Yeah.
Because
Put the
it's just
Pergo
sitting
in.
there. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
sitting on top of that.
It'd be nice and soft
Should it
to
be
walk on 'cause
theme
it's just-
oriented like comics?
That would be interesting.
You could
A
go and get
comics
a bunch
floor?
of newspapers, old, brand new, bunches of newspapers.
That would be really cool for a set
I bet you
floor,
could pick up
because
boxes of
it's
newspapers
so unusual.
on like eBay or something, of collected
Well,
newspapers,
you know, the
and
funny-
you just start like putting them in.
The funny thing is that Shay was saying if you put big mirrors all on that one wall, because of all those windows, it would make a really good dance studio. and so a floor
rails
like that
up
would,
there,
yeah. She's like,
ballerinas are
this
coming
is
in.
like, yeah.
Oh gosh.
Anyway.
That's awesome. So as we were done, Metsi Croden asks, did the stain include sealer on the floor? And I think before we get into that, there was a lot of discussion about their opinion of the stain that we chose for the floor.
Yeah.
Did you have any comments on that?
Yeah, it was
Mom?
kind of a 50-50, wasn't it?
It was
kind of a split,
50-50, yeah.
which is exactly how I feel. Half the time I like it, and half the time I think, what have we done?
Yeah. And it wasn't like I didn't like it. It's like you ruined it, you know, or just the opposite. I love it. It's the best thing I've ever seen. You know, so it was like
It's a love-hate relationship.
It was a love-hate relationship with the floor color.
Well-
But I think what's cool. Remember the one we did read? We read one that says, "Hey, I was just out going through a tour of all the homes in this one area." That were for sale and stuff. And she said it was very popular. There were lots of homes that had that kind of a floor in it.
Yeah, I
So-
think that's kind of the trendy thing right now. But then there's this idea that, you know, it's beautiful wood, and we had it stained to down, and we could have just did kind of a natural thing on it. Would have been pretty cool too. But to be honest, though, not that I'm
Not that you're lying.
but the thing is that when everyone started sanding it down, I had a flashback memory of that floor, and I would get it all clean, and one person would walk across it, and there'd be footprints. So it's horrible in the desert with dust. And I thought, no way am I going to do this to the next person who lives here. Let's lighten this floor as much as we can to make it easy to clean. And that's where looking online, we started leaning toward the whites, and we actually had a natural stain that was going on it. And at the last minute, we switched and went with the whites. And I think that for cleanup, whether they know it or not, the next person in there is going to be very appreciative of that floor.
Yeah,
because
they won't
it's-
even know, but
Yeah.
it will be.
Yeah.
And I remember we'd work so hard to get it clean, and then we trace across it, and it'd be footprint. It's like, oh man.
Yeah, one
So-
person is all it
yeah.
took, and it's like,
So we were
"Don't
trying to get
walk on
light.
it."
We kept going back to the store to get lighter and lighter stain as we were realizing this as we're standing in, and you can't get much lighter than white. So, and we thought that would be unique, different. Hadn't really seen anything. So
You can still see the grain through it,
You,
though.
yeah, you actually
I
can.
will.
I don't know if we really got the footage
Clear.
of it.
Yeah.
We finished it like
Yeah.
the night before, so it was very rushed too. I mean, we weren't able to get light for the footage.
When I first walked in there and I looked at the white stain that you guys were putting on, I thought it was a white paint. It went on so thick when you put it on there, and then you'd wipe it off because it would be too thick. But you put it on there, I was like, oh my gosh, are they putting white paint on there? That's what I was thinking, because that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
But
And
it
as
was a
far as
stain.
the
It was just-
that we put on there is a final coat on there, but we thought we would buzz out there today, and we're going to put on another Varathane, probably a satin finish on there, and just one more, just to, since it's on the floor.
This was a mixture. The stain that we used did have some polyurethane in it. So it did both. So there'll be a little bit of a shine or sheen there, but I think going back and recoating it will better protect it, and we won't get any. It won't wear down as fast as the last one did. Last one wore down. Well, that's fast.
Well, yeah, the
I
last
shouldn't
one
say fast. It was there for
lasted-
20 years.
Yeah, lasted a
15
long
years,
time.
I
We'll
guess.
get to see it in the light too, because it was pretty dark when we left. So
Yeah, we'll
it'll be
get to
kind of
really-
fun to see
Could
what
you
it looks
just
like.
keep coating it like a car?
Yeah,
Every time you want a different color, just paint it.
I thought about that too. I thought, well, what happens if we did the natural stain over the white? I mean, like, I don't know if that would work, but you're shaking your head.
Oh no, I'm just trying to picture it. I'm like, there's not even a picture.
We're not
for
going
that.
to do that. I don't mean that. But
Yeah,
I was
I mean,
thinking about
it's
that,
interesting. I'm trying to imagine it. It's like nothing
It beats replacing the floor
yeah, for sure.
though. Yeah.
It beats replacing
and
it, for
trying
sure.
to resand it. So you could take a little bit of a light sand and do it, maybe. I don't know. You probably have to light
You know
sand
what?
it anyway, so you could get some way to get something
don't
else
know.
to stick to
I
it.
think we're just ready to
You know what
Varathane
you
and
could
walk
do?
away.
Yeah.
You know what you could do? You could take a drill and you drill like a bunch of holes in it along the floor, and then put something in the holes and then stain over the top of it.
Bryson, you got some really clever ideas. That could be
like
fun.
pennies or something. You drill a bunch of penny-sized holes and put pennies in the floor.
Well, they make the penny floors where they just
But it's not quite
put the
full
pennies
penny
on there,
floor.
and then you just
It's just kind of
Coat
I
it.
almost committed
Got
to a penny floor, but
quarters,
it was too expensive,
pennies.
kind of a floor.
yeah.
Well, I love
Well,
the
it's,
idea that since the floor's already
you know,
there,
half inch
it's
per square foot. I'm just trying to go into the calculator on this.
You can make a paper floor out of ones.
$1
Oh
bills.
my gosh, that was such a waste.
$1 bills. You know, it would probably cost that much.
We got
just
it
to have
$6
it redone,
a square foot.
Mr. Beast, Mr. Beast, we'll make that happen for you. You provide the dollar bills, we'll make a floor.
There you go. Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, I like the idea of it because it's that tongue
buy
and groove
fake
in there,
ones.
and because you can pull it up. Bryson, you got a really good idea that we could actually have some fun with it next time, but that's going to be hopefully several years down the road. But I like that, Bryson. It's a good
Didn't it
idea.
have carpet in it when we first moved in it?
Yeah.
Carpet.
And then we pulled that out and put the wood floor down. Yeah.
Okay, do we have anything more on the subject of this floor, or shall we move on to other subjects?
I think we really pounded that one.
All right. We really
We
sanded
talked
that
about
one
the
down
floor.
to its. Okay. All right. So Mary West asks, "Is the bread texture soft or is it like styrofoam? I find a lot of healthy bread is like styrofoam and has to be toasted to be choked down. Please let me know. Trying to find a decent bread."
I don't think it melts in acetone, so
No, it's a soft, normal bread. Wouldn't you say, Mom?
Yeah, and it's interesting. This bread we got the 7 grain from them, and we haven't tried that yet. But we did try the wheat bread from them, and that it has a flavor that I've not tasted in bread before. It's a good flavor, but it's not one that is familiar to me. And now, as far as the hamburger buns, the texture on those was wonderful, and the flavor. The hamburger buns were just over the top.
Those were
I
very
thought.
good.
Yeah.
This is the
amazing.
first, and I don't know if we've said this before, we might have, but this is the first bread that I've ever had that I actually get a boost of energy after I finish eating it, which I've never had that with the wheat before in my life. So it definitely, I don't know what it is about it, but it is, it's my favorite bread over the bread that we've purchased from other places for sure.
Yeah, and
My
I think
favorite.
part of that is because we're ordering it directly from the bakery too. So it's probably maybe it's fresh ground and sent out to us quickly. And go ahead.
also I feel like it tastes a little sweeter. Normal bread, it's got a little
But
bit
a
of a
natural
sweeter flavor,
sweetness,
but a
not a-
natural
not
sweetness,
a-
not like an artificial one.
Maybe that's the flavor. I'm tasting that. I'm not real
I think it
familiar.
has agave syrup in it, doesn't it?
Oh,
Maybe
I think
that's
it's got
it.
an
Okay.
agave
Little
syrup
different.
in it. I think.
I think you're right.
Agave is the only sweetener that I've tasted that almost has no taste. It's just sweet.
Yeah,
It's weird.
Oh,
it is weird.
It's just sweet. There's no
We had-
flavor almost.
We'd gotten little agave syrup things, and we were
Yeah.
tasting it. It was really weird. It was.
It's such an unusual sweetener. It's good, but it's just
It-
not what you expect.
It's just sweet. Not. It doesn't have any like biting flavor, like you do like a
even
mesquite
sugar has a
syrup.
flavor.
That's got a biting flavor. Like not a
Yeah.
biting that big of one, but.
Well, you know, it's funny. We get really stuck on, especially in America,
honey.
we get stuck on one sweetener, which is sugar. You know, the cane sugar. But there's all kinds of sweeteners. You know, maple syrup, honey, agave.
Stevia.
I bet you the cane sugar was just the easiest to grow and mass produce. So it kind of just got.
I want to grow my
established as that,
own
maybe,
and
huh?
produce my own sugar. I'm really excited about that. I'm hoping to maybe get some slots in the.
Oh,
when we get
do
to that
grow.
point,
We
I'm
do
not
grow our
already on
own
that
sugar. The
particular-
beehives. The beehives are
That's true.
That's
a
true.
form of sugar that
That's
we
true.
use. We use a lot of honey. So.
And that we get really good honey.
Speaking of that, you're about due to go out there and harvest over
Yeah,
there.
we're waiting, Bryce.
It's
said-
winter though.
You know, we wouldn't do that now.
Oh, it's
We'd wait a little
February.
bit.
It's
Okay, we'll give you a
Whoa.
month.
Well,
Give you a month.
We're
I
dying
need
for
some
that honey
more.
again. It
I
was
need
so
some more
good.
honey. We ate all that honey. We almost a full gallon, wasn't it?
you know,
For another question about the bread before we move on. Okay, what is, and I know we've covered this before, but just very briefly for if you've missed the idea of the sprouted bread. What is sprouted? Strong Self 37 asks, what is sprouted bread? What are the health benefits?
Okay, we've kind of gone over that.
We have, just but briefly.
a little bit, but yeah, I guess in a nutshell, it takes a complex carb, which is flour, is a complex carb, and it reduces it to a simple carb, which makes it easier to digest. So it goes from kind of like a bread to like a flour to digesting like a honey. Like it's very easy to digest, and that's one of the main health benefits I think.
Yeah,
from
so
it.
your body works less, and that energy can go towards hopefully something else, the brain power. Hopefully,
Yeah, instead of breaking down that
instead of
carb, it
breaking it
gets
down.
out to the body as energy quicker.
Yeah, energy quicker and less your body has to work,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. Justin S. also says, how is the Justin S. Says, how is the bread on staying fresh, or does it get moldy faster or slower, or the same as regular bread?
Get moldy? We eat it so fast,
I
it never
know.
gets moldy.
We freeze it
Oh.
though. See, now that's the thing.
That's
we
true.
don't
We do
leave. We
freeze.
don't just buy a bunch and then leave it out. We freeze it, and that keeps it fresh.
Yeah, and
And then we
pull
pull
out
it
what
out
we
as we
need.
need it.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about this company too is that I don't know if this is always the case, but if you get like $60 worth of stuff, then they gave me 20% off. I don't know if that's just a normal thing that they do, but then that puts it in the price range really similar to what we would get we don't have anything local. We'd have to drive for it. But yeah, so we get it, put it right in the freezer. I bought it $60 worth of stuff, so we can put it right in the freezer.
It's really, they have all kinds of other things too, like not just breads and buns. They got like tortilla shells and wraps and
The
some pretty cool
spinach
stuff.
wrap is
Oh,
fantastic.
so good.
Mm,
Yeah.
mhm.
For sure. We've been having fun. We've been having fun. Now, Ashley Carpintero asks, where is Petrol? I saw Diesel, and Petrol's there. He just must not have made it in
Yeah,
for whatever
I thought
reason.
that was interesting too. He wasn't hanging out with them. He must have
Oh.
been just tired off to the
He might have
side or
been.
something.
Yeah, he's younger than Diesel, so he tends to have a lot of puppy energy. But I think it's slowly wearing off as he gets older. So
Yeah, and I guess Diesel was really interested in the baby this time. And I said, Ellie, did you get that on film? And she said, yeah, I got some of it. So next week we'll be able to show some of
this
that.
week. Mm-hmm.
This Friday, yeah. We'll be able to show some of that.
So
hopefully.
cute. So cute. It's funny with Diesel, he just naturally does the right things, you know? Like, I don't know how you would say that, but just things that you think, oh, it'd be really cool if a dog could do that. He does, you know? He's a really neat dog. And Petrol is a
naturally.
sweetheart, too. So both of them make a great little pal group.
That gave me a memory. When Diesel was he was older, but we got this puppy, and it was really annoying Diesel. And I can't remember what puppy it was, but it was really annoying Diesel. So Diesel he didn't bite down hard. He just grabbed it and held it down to the floor with his mouth, just held him down until it settled down, and then he let up.
That's right.
And that puppy didn't bother him again. But it was just like Diesel got done with it, held the puppy down, and the puppy started acting nice again.
If you want to go see Diesel as a little tiny puppy, I believe it's in the Muzart Studio video.
It is.
He is so tiny. He was so much fun.
My favorite scene in that one, not to spoil it if you haven't seen it, but spoiler alert, don't they say? No. Garen cuts a piece of wood, and there's, excess wood that's around, the little cuts off. So Garen cuts the piece of wood, grabs the wood, and walks off with it. Diesel grabs one of those excess pieces in his mouth and follows Garen. It was so cute. It's a best scene.
I actually think that was in the Earthbag bathroom.
Oh, was it? That's my favorite.
So he's
scene.
grown there.
Oh, he's grown there a
But
little more.
the one where remember we would pull out the bags, earth bags, and he thought, it was time to play every time we pulled those out. And he would just go grab hold of them and pull on them and twirl around.
So cute. He was such a cute puppy. Oh my gosh.
He was fun.
He was a cute little boy for sure. Okay, Justin S. Now moving on to another subject, just briefly, because I know we've covered this as well. But in case Bryson hasn't seen it yet, there are videos on YouTube of people converting small milling machines into CNC machines. It could be an option for him.
Interesting. So it did cross my mind, and I'm thinking of doing something like that, because like obviously the bigger CNC mills that already come built CNC usually are pretty pricey, but you could get a smaller mill and convert it. I've seen people like do it and stuff, and it seems pretty logical. I mean, it makes sense. I've done like 3D printers. I've worked on a lot of 3D printers, so all the stepper motors and drivers and things like that all kind of makes sense to me. So I don't know if I'll be able to do it, but I've been thinking about doing that very thing. It's
Very
interesting
cool.
that you mention
Cool.
it.
Yeah, for sure. Willie 1960 said, asked, how's the garden going? Is it staying warm enough now?
Garden's going great. if I could only plant stuff in it. But the stuff that is planted, they're just taking off. I had this celery that we bought at the store, and we took it apart and, ate all the celery off of it, and it was just this little stem thing left. And I thought the bottom of it looked nice. I thought maybe the bottom will root. So I put it in the water. Sure enough, that thing rooted. It's out there growing as we speak. It's
cool.
growing into more celery. I'm thinking every time we want celery, we just go out there, rip a couple celery off, and leave it in there.
You only use a few strands anyway. That sounds
Let's see
good.
why not. I don't know if it eventually sprouts. I know nothing about celery. I just thought, hey, that looked like it might grow. So I jammed it in the aquaponics, and sure enough, that thing grew. So the mint, we did have a huge mint in there, and then we took a little spawn off that mint and put it in the water. And that spawn is now getting
Huge.
almost too large for that now. So I have been pulling it up, cutting the roots back, putting it back in there, pulling it up, to trying to keep it back from overdoing the whole thing. And I might go in there and just start cutting leaves off and start trimming it down.
Spinach is doing really good too.
Spinach is doing great. There's a huge leaf, like a 4-inch leaf on there. Like nice good size sucker. So and then I planted sweet peas, snow peas actually. And those are growing. We got like 4 or 5 of those going.
Oh, good. I
And
love
they're-
those.
And we have strawberries. We've got one strawberry that just took off. Like, I don't know if it was just like it finally reached the water below and it got a good root hold on that, but it's taken off, and it's got like 4 flowers on there with like the start of some strawberries you could see kind of growing in. So
It'll be spring here too. I think in March it'll start warming up next month, and you'll be able to.
And believe it or not, there's still a pepper alive in there.
Oh, good.
And I thought all those would die because of the cold.
Yeah.
But I think what's keeping it alive is the warm water underneath it. It's by that warmth, and so it's keeping it alive. That's why the pepper is still alive, because I would think that would have died.
Yeah, because that's more of a warm weather deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have a little more time to test the warm water, because it's going to get, you're probably just this month, and I know this week it's going to get down in the 20s at night too, so this would be might be one of your last chances to really test on that water.
Yeah, I would say on average it stays about 50 degrees. I'm hoping to get it a little warmer, because that's obviously not quite warm enough.
That would have kept the fish alive.
That-
Though.
It would have
would've
kept it
done it.
alive.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it like on average it stays 50. On lowest, I'm thinking like in the 40s, like 40
Okay.
degrees.
And that's too cold?
And
I
that's
thought
too
they
cold.
could go to 30.
45 is the
No.
lowest. In fact, a lot of people say 45 and under is death zone. You don't even know when they're going to
okay.
die, but they're going to die.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well,
that's
we
kind
have a solution in the future for that. I
of-
know.
we do. Dad suggested something, putting on a timer on it.
Which we're
So
going
we're
to
going
pick
to
up
try
today.
that. So it only runs during the daytime, not at
Mhm.
night. I don't know if the water in the pipes will freeze or not. I'm hoping the greenhouse will keep that from happening, but I don't know. I know temperature-wise it has gotten 32 degrees in that greenhouse, which is surprising that plants are still alive, but
It'll be a good
again,
test then.
I think the water.
Yeah, it will be. I'm like wondering, I know that one side of the greenhouse is all that metal, and surely a lot of weather seeps in through that area, because it's only plastic from like the top down on one side.
Yeah.
I wonder if we, and I don't know if we want to do this, but an idea came to mind where we do those arches that Dad wants to do for our workshop, all the way down. And if we could get like a super thick, clear plastic that is still malleable, still like rubbery, and then have it where you can roll up in the summer times. Just roll it up. Roll it up.
That is a good idea, Brian.
And then on the other side,
Just leave it, probably.
you have one side is the roller to roll up the plastic for the top.
Oh, okay,
Then you
yeah.
roll that back, and then the other side is the roller of the shade cloth.
Oh, right on.
So you roll,
Oh,
you
right.
take
I
one,
love
you roll
that.
it back, you roll the next one over the top.
That's a great idea.
But you'd want to spend money on a
I
good
roller
whatever, 'cause
and
it's
like
gonna
a
break down.
cover
But like
or something for that.
because I don't
roller.
think the thin plastic. I think that won't last too long, right? Or will
no,
it?
I wouldn't think so.
I don't think it
Any
would.
plastic where
I-
we live is a tough one.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like I don't know if
You've
they
seen
even
those
make them.
buildings,
But
and
yeah,
they're
like
really
the
big-
thick,
Yeah.
like really
40
thick.
mil,
wonder-
50
Yeah.
mil.
Yeah,
They do make some thick stuff.
they make some bigger ones.
Do you have 20
okay,
mil out
okay.
there
What
now?
about do they have a
25
clear like pond liner?
A clear pond liner.
I know most of the pond liners are black, but I wonder if they've got a clear one out
They
there.
might. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely
Who
some things
knows?
to look into.
They're also, I know that there's a lot of things in bulk that you can get shipped from China too. I know, like,
Oh no.
I know we got our bags from there, but I'm wondering if they have like in bulk we can get some weird material that to see through and the material we
Okay.
want maybe. Too, I don't know,
I've got a thought.
that we couldn't get in our stores. I don't know.
I bet you we could find thinner strips of thicker plastic, like on like online somewhere, and then if we found a glue that could glue them together,
Oh, we have the glue. What's
we
that
could
called, Gary?
H64, H70.
64.
Yeah.
I think it's
H64,
H64. I think is what it is.
Yeah.
But that's for like a billboard tarps. But I
That
wonder
would
if it would
probably
work the same.
Yeah, because it just melds it.
It
like
just melts it
together.
together. And I'm wondering if you could pick up thicker sheets of plastic that are only like 4 feet and just do a bunch of glue lines and make
It's
a bigger
definitely
sheet.
a good idea. Do you want to build walls?
With this roofing, if we decide to do that, you'll have panels that we could get clear panels, and just put the panels on,
And
then
take the panels off.
Oh, right.
and store them
Right.
during the summer months.
Put
You'd get better
Make them-
insulation.
That would be a lot of work,
still
though.
get
Make them
light.
so that
But-
they just clip on or something, so you don't have to.
Oh, yeah, like a little-
Just clip, 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 clip,
Oh,
clip,
yeah. Okay.
The
or something,
panels?
or even if you could just set them in and lock them in or something. I don't know, some sort of contraption that you don't have that's easy to come on and off.
Yeah.
I guess the question is, would you want to go out there and put a bunch of panels on there, or just go on there and pull a string, or pull a line, a rope, pull that over?
Yeah, we'll have to put some.
Yeah,
thought
I'm
into
not
that.
sure. We'll keep mulling on
All right,
that.
now on the
Still-
sides, do you want a
know.
wall too, like a wall that up to about chest level or so?
and then do greenhouse over the top of it.
I like that idea. And then it wouldn't be that much to take the panels off, and then we can avoid the whole roller issue of how do you roll this thing up.
Is that enough green to a greenhouse or whatever? Is that enough plastic to heat it and also keep it cool if it's just on the top?
The only thing that's ever going to be used is that top half.
That's the only thing that
You know,
matters.
because by the time the sun starts going on the horizon, you're done, and you're not going to get that lower.
Okay.
You know, and on the shade cloth, we only covered it the top half with the shade cloth too, because
with
you don't
millennial?
you just need the shade. You don't need the, the sun's not going to get up underneath the shade cloth.
Right on.
Cold
Right on.
will though, but if we
Okay.
did,
Okay,
Well-
so I'm thinking if we did that in block up a certain level and then we did bottles the rest of the way up for your wall, then what we could do is the same thing we did with the self-water on the other side, that we could actually add to that, so you could have a whole self-water area. You know what I'm saying? On that one side, and then the roof water that we're going to put those gutters around Bree's building. She's got the metal roof, so she's got good water. We could also have those feed not only the refill of your aquaponics, but it could also be feeding the self-water. We could run those self-water
Interesting.
things. Those self-water works really well.
They
in
do.
the
Okay, I also
climate.
have another thing to add
They
to it
do.
as well. I want to put an aviary in that area. Is it possible when we're bricking it in, do you think it'd be warm enough in the greenhouse during the winter months to keep birds happy?
Yeah, they might be a little too happy eating Bryson's plants.
No,
That's what I'm kinda
that's
thinking.
that's what I'm saying. Build a just a spot in it that they don't go into the greenhouse, but a little house is built in there.
Let's consider
A little
that too.
bird
Everybody
house.
get their dream come true just in
That's
that
what I'm
one
thinking.
little area.
That
Okay.
little area.
As long as the birds can't get access
No,
to the
no.
greenhouse.
That's not
because
the
I'm
idea.
pretty sure those strawberries will look mighty tempting for them.
Yeah, no, that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. I just mean it
Just feed them well and hope they don't get into that.
No, I just mean to capitalize on the warmth with like a little
Yeah, I like
cage
that.
or something.
Yeah, smart.
That they can
capitalize on
get
the
into.
warmth. I like that idea.
All right.
No, and
Well,
you know,
that's going to be a fun little area to develop in the
Yes.
coming months, and who knows how long. We'll just keep going on it. I know the workshop really is our main concern this year, but
Workshop.
I'm sure we'll be working on it as
chop
as
chop
we
the
go.
workshop.
I think about the workshop every day. Every day I think about it. This
I
is
probably
probably
do
excited about
too.
that.
Gary actually
go
has
over
it
at least
all
once.
written out and down as far as you keep adding to it. We'll be sharing that in the coming
Yeah, more and
weeks.
more.
It's gone from like 200,000 square feet. I don't know to like 20,000 square feet.
We've had
like
to cut it back a
10,000
little
square
bit.
feet. No, I don't know. Just
I dream
like
about the
insane numbers.
it's a shot to the moon, and then we just work it back to.
Let me scale it back.
traveling
I
into
think
town.
The design you came up with is a good one now, I think.
Good, yeah, I like it too.
It fits all the needs and still keeps
Keeps
a
it
small enough
manageable.
area that's not like
Yeah, your mom and I
you
were
know,
talking about
possible to
concrete
build.
and how to do that, and I was thinking, well, we could do subfloor. We could do like instead of putting
Soil
in rock, we could put soil cement in
I like that idea.
instead of a rock subfloor or subsurface.
It's going to be interesting to do the soil cement because we have a lot of metal over there. So it's going to be interesting to get a till in there
Yeah,
because
well, we have magnets.
We'll figure it out. We always do.
Well, and then the idea was a subfloor, and then so you wouldn't have to do several inches of concrete, right? So you do soil cement, and then we put the concrete on top of the soil
Right.
cement.
Exactly. Yeah, that way
I
we
like that idea.
we can save some money because I think it's going to be a lot cheaper with the. There are some areas that can't really, especially where the car is going to come in. I want that to be, it's got to be good 6 inches of concrete with rebar and some screen in there, and then we have to set up for the 2 pads. I mean, I've got all these things rolling around in my head. Every time I walk over there, I build more of it in my brain, and then when it comes time to execute, we're gonna be ready to do it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were discussing, do we have a truck come in and do the concrete, which would be the easiest, but we're not sure how expensive that's going to be. Or do we, rent a machine, or I don't know, we're going to have to make some decisions. We'll have to weigh the cost with what we're doing.
Yeah. If we decide to mix it ourselves and pour it ourselves, we're gonna have to have a teams.
Yeah, it'll
There'll
be
be
that'll
teams
be
of
rough.
people. And
But we'll do
It'll
it
be
anyway.
tough even if we have somebody pour it, though, too, because we're going to have screeding and have everybody available, too.
we can do a whole floor with 2-3 people max.
Okay.
Really.
If we had it poured.
So if we
Because
have
if
somebody
all you're
pour
doing
it-
is screeding, that's not bad.
well, you have somebody who works on the street, works on the level, and then you
Moving
finish
cement
guy.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know for the walls, we're going to be doing like what you mentioned before in previous podcasts. We're going to be doing those. We've been saving up animal bags, and we're going to be filling those up. We don't really have any more holes to dig, so we're going to be bringing in some more dirt. So that'll be, I know, a little easier to have that right by our project, because I know we've done projects where it's so far away and we have to dig a hole to get the dirt in.
Yeah.
It's a
We've
lot.
done that before, which is fine, But we're gonna.
I've already been
that'll be a
shopping
little
around for
easier.
dirt. I think we found some, and we'll have some delivered here,
know-
hopefully this week.
All right, I'm excited
always-
about that. It's gonna be good.
You always ask where we get the dirt from. We actually have a hole we've been digging, and I just remember pushing that wheelbarrow up the ramp that we'd made in this hole, just so we get it going. We put like wood on the ramp to try to get grip, so you could
That
not
may be
slip.
the spot to put the
But that was-
greenhouse.
That's interesting. We've thought about the greenhouse over
And
there.
that could run
quite a bit,
power that
but-
way easier.
Yeah, we thought
too.
about doing an underground greenhouse over there. We still could do that
And like
if we want to do a
the
bigger one later.
aquaponics system is movable. It doesn't seem movable,
Yeah.
but it actually is movable.
Aquaponics is movable.
Especially if there's no water in it.
Mhm.
Obviously, we'd have to pull the water. But yeah,
It's only a 300-gallon tank to empty. Carry it on my back.
it is movable.
I really
So-
like the location of where the aquaponics
easy,
is, though,
but-
because you step out, you see it, you can
hear
tend
the
it.
water in the
Yeah.
backyard. It's so fun.
Yeah, I think that there's
Really
been a
like
leak sometimes.
I can open my window in my room and hear the water from my room.
Yeah,
it
it's
is
just
nice.
pleasant.
It
It's
really
just
is pleasant.
Yeah, for sure.
The birds.
Well,
in
that
there
area is not a
be-
bad little area to build that in there.
Well,
So
we could build another one back there. Well, we can go
it's
full
just
big.
just a shame to have a hole on your property and not make use of it.
We're
you know what I
going to
mean?
use
Well,
it. It's
here's
just
the thing.
changed what it's going
when
to
we
be.
get our nice well in eventually, we're gonna fill that sucker with water, aren't we?
We do a
That was
pond. We
the
talked about
original
that. Seems
plan.
really-
Yeah, originally it was going to be a pond slash natural swimming pool.
Yeah.
That's originally, but then we thought, oh my goodness, water in the desert. It's hard to come by, and it's probably not a very good use of our water. So
Yeah, probably
we
won't do
pulled
that.
back from that idea.
Great idea, but it's just a dream.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
Well,
So, I know.
I mean, our rainwater goes over there. Could we naturally fill it?
You're right. We are collecting all that rainwater, and you know that right now, Shay's building doesn't have the gutters on it yet, and that rainwater is filling that barrel easily. That big old one that we sunk in the ground. I don't know what is
Cistern?
that, 3,000 gallons.
3,000 gallons.
Yeah, so that just our house, our main house alone is easily. We don't need to add Shay's to that. So you're right. We could add another
And
tank.
it
and
just dawned on me too.
maybe that's something we do
It's
down
a
the road.
thought. It's a thought.
We've been in rainstorms, and when we go out there, like I remember going out there, that thing was full of water, that entire pond, which is massive. And that thing was full. It just all soaked in the ground, which is good.
Yeah.
But it was full at one point in time. So there is enough rainwater to potentially keep that going if we could establish a thing. And obviously with the pond, I think you would need some sort of filtration system to keep the water fresh.
The water
liner, filtration system, embankment,
and just think of
control.
The evaporation on that would be incredible too. Like when it's
Oofta.
bumping up in 90s to 100s. Oofta.
Oh.
It might dry up during the summertime and like
maybe we just go, okay, it's dry in the summer, but just
right when you
could-
want the
Or
water.
we
though.
need it in the
no,
summer
you
though,
couldn't
for swimming.
change the temperature
That's
that
true. That's what
easily.
you wanted.
The temperature couldn't be changed that easily with that much water. So maybe that's where we throw the tilapia during the wintertime.
Yeah. Maybe
It's
we
a
get some
thought.
cranes out. People start getting cranes.
They
And
do.
ducks. We could get ducks. Oh, dogs.
Aw.
I've
That's
always
a bit of a
wanted
problem.
I've
Oh,
always wanted
ducks and dogs.
Yeah,
good
not
point.
There's
a
a thing
great
called
mix.
fences. We could
You know
fence
what?
it in.
You know what we could do? You know what we could do? We could put little not shocker collars, but on the ducks, and when they get close to the dogs, whammo!
I think it should be the other way around. Get the dogs for getting
Yeah.
close
No,
to the ducks.
not the ducks.
Oh, I
The
thought you
ducks
said
have a
put-
little sensor on them that sends a signal, so it keeps a border wherever the ducks are.
Oh,
And then if the dogs get close, they get shocked because of the signal of the duck.
Right on.
That's cool.
You'd have to keep the duck signals charged.
You know,
though.
there'd be
That
one
would be-
smart duck though
One
that
duck.
would just be inching towards the dog every so often because he knows to get
That
that.
looks so funny with
Or-
them with little barker collar on their
Yeah.
duck necks.
Yeah.
Or it flies off.
quack,
Flies
quack,
off,
quack.
and some guy's out there hunting and shoots one and goes, "What the heck is this thing?"
We'll have to put a tracker on it too to protect our ducks.
Yeah. That's a crack
They'll
up.
chip them.
So I know we are planning a trip soon to Blokland.
Mm-hmm.
And that's gonna be pretty fun. Did you want to?
Yeah, if there's anybody in that area that would like to meet up or something that they'd like to share with the
YouTube family.
Yeah,
Our
it'd be
YouTube
fun
family?
to share with my little homestead community would be fun to share that.
Yeah.
So if you have something,
Something that kind of follows the interest that we have. It's alternative building and interesting projects and health and music, any kind
Gardening.
of fun thing.
Gardening,
Yeah, would be great.
Around that
but
area,
Yeah, we'll be in
yeah.
the Laughlin area here.
yeah.
Yeah, give us.
So let us know.
Yeah, you can DM us on Twitter.
Yep.
Or DM us on Twitter, or DM us on Twitter also works.
Yeah.
So. mhm.
Just a word of caution: the YouTube thing is not a great place to share your address or your phone number.
yeah.
So I typically filter that, so for your protection. But use the Twitter DM stuff.
Yeah,
that
it's
way,
just the
your
most private.
information is more protected that way, and
That's
people
why we
won't
do
be
it.
calling you in the middle of the night. Weirdos.
Hey, I saw your phone number. You have a cute profile picture.
Yeah, I just thought I'd reach out to you and say hello.
Speaking of calling, I had someone call me and was like, "It's your grandson." I was like, and it was like it was probably a guy in his 30s maybe. And I was just like, oh, I think I had to like, oh, I didn't realize I was that old.
Gotta love that. Gotta love
It
that.
was just a random call. And I was just like, okay.
We're also going to be visiting Oatman. That's around there,
Yeah.
about 15 minutes away from Laughlin. We're pretty excited about that.
I understand there's like donkeys and stuff roaming around
Really?
there.
Definitely get
Naturally?
shots of the donkeys.
Can we ride him?
No.
Go ahead. Yeah, you hop right up on them. Oh, they're definitely rideable.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You
They're
first.
wild, so they love it.
Well, I remember we had a donkey once and we rode her.
Well, she
Yeah.
was far more
Rode
tamer,
her right
probably.
through the bushes.
I do remember her trying to get somebody off. It was Garen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and by
that's
golly,
right.
Garen just held on.
Oh, he
and
did.
He just held on, and she sent him through it. She
All
went
the
under.
trees.
I don't know. Did she ever lose him? He did not want to let go.
I don't know. I think he eventually did fall off,
Oh,
but
okay.
it was like, whoa, look
she
at him
normally
go.
didn't have any problem with people riding her though, but she'd been cooped up for a while,
Got spooked
and that
a
was
She just wanted to go on a run, maybe.
Yeah, she
and she's
did.
like, "Well, if you want to
Hey,
be up there,
Garen's
you
up
can.
there,
I'm
let's
going on a
go."
run."
and she actually was a wild donkey too, but she kind of was an exception to the rule, I think, Bryson. But I don't know. I'd say give it a try. I just let me get my camera out. And
Yeah. So don't do
All
it
I
until I'm
know
there.
is that donkey. She had a little baby. And that was so
Baby.
much fun.
Do you remember we had
Maybe.
like this
Maybe it was
original name, like Jenny.
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
very original.
Carrots. She
What
loves
was
carrots.
the baby's name?
Lady, because she's born on
Lady.
Labor Day.
That's right.
Oh yeah, y'all remember that? We were still in the
Right.
trailer, and we're all sitting there, and we're like, "What is that sitting on the ground?" Her corral was far off, and we're like, "Is that what is that?" And we all went out there, and lo and behold, it was this fluffy little donkey,
Yeah.
little baby donkey, and
Oh,
Jenny was
fantastic.
looking
That's
him
right,
up.
because
And
we didn't know she was carrying the baby at the
Well,
time when we got her.
We did.
we did.
Oh,
We
you
thought
did?
maybe.
We suspected.
Yeah,
Oh,
the guy
okay.
there, when we went to go, you go to these places that you can adopt these wild horses and wild donkeys. We were there for a donkey. We wanted a donkey because we wanted it to be able to protect the goats out in the desert. And because they're known for that. And the guy told us there that that was a good donkey because she was facing us. All the other donkeys were looking away. He said that's not a good sign, but the ones that are facing you means that they're more friendly in her nature. And he said, and I really think she's pregnant. So we got very excited, and that's where we got Jenny, and we brought her back. And yeah, she was very sweet. She let you guys ride her. And also when she had that baby, I remember Shay was laying there with the donkey head in her lap, petting the baby. Jenny had no problem with us being around the babies at all, or her baby at all. So she was a really good donkey.
Really good donkey. Yeah, we love that little thing. We decided not to go the donkey route eventually. So
Yeah, she ended up not protecting the goats. She ended up being aggressive towards the goats, the opposite of what.
yeah, probably because of the baby.
Yeah, and we bought her mainly for protection, and
Yeah.
then it turned out to not work out. So not all donkeys protect. She might have. She protected. I'm sure she would do her own baby, but she didn't ever adapt to the goats.
No, she
So-
adapted to us though, which was kind of fun. But
Yeah,
yeah, not quite. And at the time, we really wanted to make sure every animal that we had was contributing in some way too. And they're expensive to keep, so we decided. So she went to a good home, and so did Labie.
yeah. She ended up going to a gal that wanted to breed a horse and a donkey,
Aw.
and we went out to her farm and stuff, and she had a couple horses, and she wanted to get, what is it called, a mule, I think.
Yeah, it's called a mule.
Yeah. So she really liked Jenny, and
She would have been a good mom and a wonderful personality to pass on for sure.
yeah. So,
So,
anyway,
Yeah, that worked out real good.
Oh, okay.
Our donkey, our adventures into the donkey
I remember
land.
the automatic red bowl that we had that filled up with water for her.
yeah,
That was
big
pretty cool.
huge red.
I remember that thing because I remember the baby in that red bowl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
her little fuzzy head.
All right. Well, I think that concludes this week's podcast. We, unless anybody had anything else to say upon the matters of My Little Homestead. No.
Well, I could talk forever about music and about all kinds of different things, but no, I think we're kind of polished up.
Wrapped up here. So
Let's
we
get
really
to work.
let's get to work. It's time.
Gotta get to
Let's
work.
talk about computers. PCs, anyone? No.
So anyway, we really appreciate you being with us. You probably, in case you don't know, we are on iTunes podcasts and Spotify as well. If you're listening from those areas and you're new to us, you've never been here or heard of us before, we do videos on our YouTube channel, My Little Homestead. We do 3 shows a week. Our podcast comes out every Monday morning. Great for listening to. And we have recaps that come out on Wednesday. Those are little subjects, complete subjects pulled from our variety show, which comes out Friday night, which is a 30-minute full-on show that we produce as well. It just follows our projects and our adventures throughout our lives. So
Yeah, 20 minutes. So
20 minutes.
30. I think we about
Did I say
take
30?
us out.
I'm sorry. I meant 20.
It's
Sorry.
amazing what
Well,
an
maybe
extra
one
10
day.
minutes would do to
I know.
us.
That would kill us for sure. We'd be like, sorry, guys. No. So, so we have those 3 shows that come out. And, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I usually end us up with.
Yeah,
But
more to come in the future.
more to come.
Too.
Lots more.
We
So
got
many projects.
A lot of projects and lots of additional videoing projects as well. That will be in addition to what we have going now.
Some building stuff too.
Oh,
So
lots of building, lots of creation, though, for sure.
Yep,
So-
doesn't stop.
No.
We even have
never ends.
a future art project coming up.
Oh, yes. Pretty excited.
I'm excited
And we got
about
video
that one.
tips that are coming out, and also we've got the whole cancer story that we're putting together right now, trying to get all the details and all the memories of what we went through on that to share as well.
Getting all of our thoughts put in order so that we can tell the story in completion.
All
All
the
of its
missed
thoughts.
details.
For sure. So we're pretty excited about that. That'll be coming your way very soon as well. So anyway, thank you so much for being a part of our family, and we look forward to hanging out with you on Wednesday. Have a fabulous week.
Take care.
Bye.